Hi everybody, hope everybody's doing okay. This is Tina with Rehatch Designs, and I'm here just doing a video on jewelry for your journal. This is kind of a extension of that. I have gone through a lot of my stuff and I'm trying to edit things, but I keep finding things that I don't want to quite throw away. And I thought about it and I thought, well, there's probably other ways that I can use them and change them to where I want to use them. And that made me think about ways to add things to your journal that make them more interesting. And to me, that is, kind of the jewelry, the accents or whatever. And that's what I'm going to do with this. I have, this is from Finnabar, and it is a kind of a rust application effect. And I'm going to try that. I have never used this, okay? But I have a couple things I want to use that on. And it has like 3 different colors in it. And it's really kind of a 3 different colors of paint, to be honest with you, okay? And that's what you use to do this. It doesn't actually rust it, but it gives you the colors to use with that. That's weird. That was kind of open, but it's sealed. And then I also had, let me move that aside, some black gesso that I'm going to use on a couple things. And on top of that, I bought this a while ago and I have not even had a chance to use it. This is salvage patina, and I have it in the oxide and I have it in the distress ink, and I also have the refills because I might use drops of that too. But anyway, in the ink and the distress oxide, because I may want to make patina it up a little. The other thing too is I have a lot of different things that you can use this stuff on, okay? These are some stickers that I bought at the dollar store. And even though they look kind of cool the way they are, they're kind of shiny and they're plastic. And I'm going to dull them down and make them look, I don't know, old and rusted and that kind of thing. I have some chipboard here. And these are, just things that I want to try this effect on. I don't know whether we'll get to all of them, but so I had bought this online. And this is just some elements that you might, want to distress or something. Okay. So that's something that I might do. These are some die cuts that they're metallic already, but to me they're a little bit too shiny, and I want to try and see if I can change those up. I found in saying that I went through my stuff, I was going to throw these away. These are chipboard little frames, and then here's just some other things here, and these are all chipboard. Okay. Well, this is chipboard and this is actually wood cutout. So this is a wood cutout too. And so are these little stars. Okay. And then this is just, chipboard. Okay. And then I have some chipboard pieces that I've had these forever. I'm not going to use them. I've had these, and I know we all probably have stuff like this. And I want to try it just on a few pieces of chipboard, just to see how it would look, some numbers, because I'm thinking about where I could use those. I'm just going to take a few of these out, just random. It doesn't really matter which ones. It doesn't really matter. So I'll just take out, I don't remember how many of each there were in there, but I'll just take out a few numbers and check it out and then see how that works. These are already black, but obviously you can make them any color you want. So So I thought that that's kind of what I would do, and just to kind of work on just playing with some stuff today. I was going to be doing some other messy things, which I'm not sure if I'm in a video or not, but if I do, that's why. When I do messy stuff, I try and like to do, you know, all of it at one time. Okay, on this one, I'm not going to start with that. How about we start with some of the easy stuff first? Like, how about this frame? And how about this? I think that'd be cool. See, I mean, this the way it is. I mean, I don't know that I would use it, but if I do something to it, then obviously, you know, it might work out. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to go ahead and paint it with black gesso first, because I want to make, especially this on the cardboard, I just think you would want to seal that. So let me try. This bottle had opened at one point. I hope it opens. Okay, there we go. I haven't used it in a while. Let's see here. I'll use this brush. It's a good size. Let's try that. And I'm just going to paint this one time because we're going to cover it with other stuff. So this way it has a good base to it. And I think I'm going to do a few other things too, because it's going to take a while for the gesso to dry. And Okay, so that is going to dry, and it will dry fairly quickly. So, all right, let's find some that are dry. Okay, so this just really has like the consistency of a gritty paint. So it feels very gritty, and I'm using the brown first. So you're supposed to go over it with that. I'll do that. I'm assuming this is going to dry fairly quickly, so let's see how this works. Okay, so now I'm going to let that, did all the brown ones. that brush in there. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm going to take some of these that I've already let dry. Okay, let's try those. All right, those two are drying. Move this other stuff over. All right, let's see what we've got here. Okay, these are drying still a little bit. I'm going to put those aside. Those look okay. Well, maybe I'll dry these real quick so I can do them all at one time. That'll make it go a little bit faster. Let's try that. All right, so now that I've done those, I'm going to go ahead and let's see. Now, these two colors you don't just put on like you do the brown. You're supposed to kind of just randomly touch around there with this. Let's see, where's my little opener thing here? Okay, so the paste one, you're supposed to rub on and then put the other one on. Gold rust. I don't know. We shall see. I don't want to put too much on. Okay, so this is more like a rub-on. And then you're supposed to put the other... I think you're supposed to put the rust on first, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm going to try this stuff. And this is like, it's not as thick as the brown. Okay. And I really think in order to do this, guys, you really kind of have to, I don't know, you're going to have to go in and put the colors on, and then you're going to have to add, you know, just come up with what you think it will look the best on there. Like, I can see this is going to definitely need more brown, right, on top of this. But I don't want to paint it on. I think what I'm going to do with the brown is I'm going to see, I have like a little sponge thing, and I'm going to try and just dab it on, because I think that would honestly look better. So let me try that. And you can see where the paste picked up on the texture. You see I can see why they want you to use the paste, because you're not trying to use as much. Now see, that one to me is turning out more like you want it. You don't want it to be so thick on there. I hope I'm doing this in frame. I guess we'll find out. See, this you could do with your finger, but the yellow is a kind of a waxy paste, and the not yellow, but it's kind of mustard, I guess. And then this is more of a paint, but it has a texture in it. So we shall see. And I also have some of my metallic paste out here, because I thought, well, you know, maybe I'll add some of that to it too. I mean, you know, I have it, I might as well use it. Just use what you have. You definitely don't have to have this stuff, because I have done the same effect just using cheap paint from Walmart. So, okay, I'm going to have to add more brown to that too. And I think that's the key, is you're just going to have to work with it until you get it the way you like it. You know, you've got to just be able to kind of know the effect that you want. Okay, so I think I'm going to let those dry a tiny bit. I might put the brown on now. Let me see. I'm going to do a little bit more brown on there. I have another brush here. And I'm going to take the brown and go back in. But I don't want it to go. I just want to kind of see if I have a different brush that I could use. I just really kind of want to just dab it in there. I don't want to cover up everything that I just did, but I want it to have a little bit more brown. Okay. Yeah, that's getting closer to what I want. Something like that, guys. Okay, so I'm just taking this and I'm going like that, just so it's not solid, you know, colors anywhere. I think that turned out pretty good, right? Maybe could have a little bit more orange in there. I think I covered up too much of it, but I think that's the point, is you kind of have to play with it until it gets to the point that you like it, right? But up close, I don't know if you guys can tell, it has a really good look to it. It looks very rusty and textured, and yeah, see, that looks to me a little bit better. I may come back in and again put more orange in there in some spots. Maybe a little bit more of the other color. Like, see, this can use, oh, that's too much on there. And that's just it. You want to put very little of the brown back in because you don't want to cover up everything you did. All right, see, I think that looks pretty good right there. And then this one, I'm just going to take a little bit of brown on there, even because I think it looks pretty good. And this will look really cool on the front of a journal. This one just needs a little bit of brown here and there. Now this is metal, and honestly, guys, I like rusting metal, but sometimes you don't have time to do that because it does take a while. And maybe you just want to do something like this. Okay. So you can have it already look rusted. All right, now the fun part. Let's do these and see how they turn out. let's see. I think this one needs a little bit more brown covered up. Let me do that. Yeah, maybe right there. All right. So this is what that looks like. I think that's really cool. That would be really, you know, fun on top of a journal. And that was an ugly little piece of chipboard. You see that number? Can you see how cool that would be? Then you've got this. Obviously, that would be really cool. This frame. We've got a metal book plate. Looks like we've got a few more pieces on there. And let me take these off and I can show you what they look like. So, I mean, these look kind of cool too. They would look like rusty, you know, instruments or something. And honestly, I would use them in this form like that, but I wouldn't have used them before because, you know, they were just too shiny and too, you know, whatever. But that is a really cool look, I think. Even if you didn't want to do that, you could do them like plain black or whatever you wanted to do. Okay, so we have all of these and they all look nice and rusty. And now I wanted to add a few things to maybe make them look a little different. I'm gonna try, let's see, maybe I'll do it on one of these. I'll try on, maybe on this and see how it looks first. So I have the Distress ink in the Salvage Patina and I have it in the Oxide. I think I'm gonna try the Oxide because I have a feeling the way I'm gonna do this, let me get my, what did I do with it? I have a gel plate sitting here. And I don't necessarily, you don't have to have a gel plate to do this, obviously. But I have it, and I use it for this. I'm going to go ahead and put this color down a little bit. Because I don't know if the re-inker would be a little bit too concentrated. Let me get some water. Put a little bit of water in there. And then what I'm going to do, let me move this over here for a second. Let me see if I can find a brush that I want to use. I want to see, I don't know, that might be too light. Yeah, it might be a little bit too light. Might need a little bit darker. A little bit more of a greenish color. Yeah, I think that's too light. Let me see if I can. Yep, I don't know. It doesn't have enough of a dark color in it, but let me try it on this and see. Because I use the Distress Oxide, I want to see how it looks when it's completely dry. You know. Well, I don't know. I think it needs to look a little bit darker. Let's see. Maybe a little bit more green. Let me see what I have that would work. I think I'm going to try some cracked pistachio. And I'm going to mix that a little bit with this. And see if that would make it the color more or less what I want it. Yeah. I think mixing those two works better. I don't know. Might not work exactly the way I want it to, but I think maybe, let's see, what if I mix these two together on here, right? Because I don't know if this is exactly what I want. Oh yeah, that added way too much, so let me see. Now I think what I'm going to do is let me take that and just put a little bit on there. Yeah, I think just on the edges would be look good. I think I put too much on that one for sure. But that's okay. I'm going to fix it. Yeah, that looks good. That looks better. Just a little bit on the edges. Just here and there. Okay, this has a little bit too much too. So I think what I'm gonna do on these, I'll just put it on the edges. Yeah, I like that better. Just a little bit of, just to add another layer. That's all I'm trying to do to it, is add more color to it. You know, I kind of like it and I kind of don't. Okay, let's see. And then, let's see which other one I want to put in there. I think this one I want a little bit of that in there. Well, I don't know. I don't think it looks too bad. This one has a lot on there, but it looks kind of cool now that it's drying in there. I'm going to let it dry. I may add a little bit to this. I think the trick is not to put too much in there. But it does have a place in here. It does add another layer. So I think maybe this time, let me try the Distress ink. I don't know if it would look that much different. Let's see what the ink looks like in comparison. I may have to actually use the let me see how that looks in comparison. It has a good color to it, so I was trying to add the green patina, you know, kind of a, I think I like that a lot. I'm just kind of letting it drip down. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. On this one, I like it because I think it's a bigger surface. So I think that looks kind of cool. Oh yeah, I definitely like that. All right, I'm gonna let that dry. And then on a few of these, I'm gonna add this darker. And this, I don't know, let me try the re-inker. It might be too much, but I'm gonna put a little bit down because it may be a little bit, you know, a little bit more condensed. And yeah, let's see. I do need to add water to it though, I think. It may have too much. Okay, let me try this. And see, that'll give it a completely different look. Let it dry. You never will know until it dries. Okay, so I think the best way to do this is to let it drip on there so it has kind of a natural look to where it goes in all the crevices and stuff. And since it has a texture, I'll just see how that works. And I may just put it on some of them and not on all of them. Like, that has a really good look to it, but I don't know if I want all of it to look like that. So let's see. This has too much, so I have to kind of spray some of that off. And I'll go back to the original that we did. See, this I think looks really cool. It does look different than, you know, the rusted but I really like the patina on that. This is kind of, I think it will look cool when it's done. It just has a little bit on there. Okay, let me see about this. I don't know. Let's see, put a little bit in a few spots. I'm going to put a lot, but it really, in order for it to go where you want it to go, I think it's better if it's a little bit more watery. All right, so we're going to let that sit there for a minute. And that might give it a kind of a cool patina. I think the oxide has a really good look to it too, though. So I don't know, guys. I think there's a place for both of these, so make it a little waterier, or more watery, I guess I should say. And then see, I did it here. I think it looks good. I think the oxide has kind of a different, completely different look to it. And I don't know, I guess it's just going to really depend on what you're going for. Now see, that is way too dark. I didn't want that much on there. But that is kind of what I'm going for. So I think what I'm going to do is just go. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, now it looks more natural. It looks oxidized a little bit more natural, okay? I think that's what I'm going for, is more of a natural kind of a patina. All right, I have to spray a lot of it off. Okay, that way it has the look I'm looking for. A little bit more right there. There we go. This one too. I think on that one I just tapped it a little bit. Now this one I put some on and you can barely tell, so I think what I'm going to do is kind of just make it go around. I just made it a lot more watery. Okay. Okay, I think, well, I think I took away too much too soon. You gotta almost have to just let it dry and then see. And then I guess if you don't like it after that, you know, go in there and then add what you want to add. I don't know. So, and I want this to just look like it has a natural, you know, patina to it. And I'm hoping that when this is all done, it ends up looking the way I want it to. You can see how it kind of blends in after it dries. So trying to get it on the outside and a few spots in here that it doesn't have it. There we go. All right. And I think, yeah, this one turned out pretty cool. So I like this one too. I do think this one has a little bit too much on the ends. So I'm going to take the water. Let's see what happens. Get some of it off of there. And this one, take a little bit off of it there. I almost like this one with a lot on there. I think it looks kind of cool. I'm going to take a little bit off. I like the 5, the way that looks. I think it's really cool with it on there. Some of them, I think it looks good. Some of them I don't. I don't know. I just don't know. Like this, I don't know. I'm trying to get it to where it looks more natural and not as, you know. There we go. All right, that looks a little better. We'll do that. Anyway, you guys get the idea. I think these all look cool. I might have done a little bit too much on this one. I don't know if taking it off would make any difference. Let's see. Yeah, you can see a little bit more of the rust on there now. Let me see. Probably it needs to be this darker, more concentrated color. Let me try that a little bit here and there. I'm trying not to overdo it, but I notice that what happens is the blue just kind of fades in after it dries, so put more water in this. And the only reason I'm using the gel plate really is just so that it doesn't dry. I could use my mat, but you could use a glass plate, just to anything, just to kind of do that. Same thing. Yeah, I think I like that blue a little bit better with this. It probably still has too much, so I don't know. Take a little bit off. You're just going to have to play with it and get it to the point that you like it. You may not like the blue on there. I wanted it just to kind of lighten it up. I'm planning on using some of this in a mermaid journal, and I wanted it to have that blue patina on some of these. So I will put these over here. And so you can kind of see, you don't have to obviously put the blue on there. That was just kind of something I thought about when I was doing this, because I thought, well, you know, that might look kind of cool. I think you really kind of have to wait for it to kind of naturally dry. If you force this stuff, it doesn't always look good. So, okay guys, so we had gotten together and did a little bit of patina inking on these some little items last time, and we made frames and did different things, and we made them all rusty, kind of like that. Well, now I went ahead and took some of those same type of chipboard pieces and things that I wasn't using, and now I'm going to do something different. I'm going to go ahead and use some different metallic waxes and other things. This is just a very cheap set that I bought online, and I'm going to take a little bit of that. And I have not even used these before, but I'm going to take that, and all I did to this prior to doing anything to this is cover it with plain old black gesso, and I use heavy gesso. This is what I use. The really fun thing about using gesso is it adds texture to whatever you're doing So I'm taking this and I'm putting this gold, and I barely put any on my finger. And I want to show you, just with doing that, I took this really, it was this color of chipboard, and I made this really cool piece to put on my journal. Okay, now if you want to, you can add different colors to that. But anyway, I'm going to leave that like that. This is a frame, and I only did one coat of gesso on there. Okay, so you can kind of see through that a little bit. But what I'm going to do with that is I am going to take, where did that go? This is kind of a black wax, and my waxes are all drying, so, well, I might not be able to use that then. I have it in this too, so some of my waxes have gotten dry, so I'm going to have to ad lib here. Now this is kind of a grayish color, and I'm going to go ahead and take it, and I will put the link to this on there because it was fairly inexpensive, and I think it's a good value if you want different colors, you know. I tend to use my antique gold a lot, and I use Rub and Buff a lot, but I wanted to try something different. Okay, so this has silver all over it, but I don't want it to be, see, and it covered up everything, and I had done the black, so I'm going to put some on the side because I don't think I did the sides very good on that. I like to cover my sides because a lot of times you can see them when they're dimensional like that. And I will just go ahead and do that. Okay. So what you may want to do on that, even though it looks very metallic right now, is you may want to come in with a darker color. Like here's a black, and it's metallic, and just give it some, just a little depth in there. Okay, just so that it's not all one-dimensional. And what's really cool, again, the gesso, the heavy gesso, gives it some texture, and so not just texture too, it gives it some bite. Okay, I'm going to take this bronze color here, and I'm going to take a little of that, and I'm going to put it in there with it. Okay, just to kind of give it a little more of an aged look. Okay, so there you go. There's that plain piece of chipboard, and we fixed that up to make it look different. This one, I think what I want to do on that is I do want it to look copper. I don't think this will work. No, it's supposed to be copper, but it doesn't seem. I'm going to do a little bit of this. It doesn't look as copper as I want it to. It's more of a bronzy copper. Try that. I have my other stuff there. I just have to work with it. And I'm going to cover that with this. And then come back in. Again, the gesso, it gives it the texture that you want, okay? Now here's my numbers, and they had gold underneath it already. And I'm going to just take my gold on that and go over it a little bit more. This is metallic. And what that'll do is it'll still look gold. It'll have the black underneath it, but it gives it a texture. I don't know if you can see that. It's not shiny, okay, anymore like it was. So that's probably closer to how we use them in a lot of our little vintage stuff that we do. So now we've taken these numbers that we probably would not have used, okay, and done something with them, okay? So there you go. And it's not a shiny metallic look. It's something that you probably would use now because it has the texture on it and the antiquing, and all we did with that is just we used the gesso first and then we did the numbers. Okay, I've got a few more things here. I've got some buttons, and they were just the chipboard, or actually the wood. And I think on these I'm going to use a little bit brighter color. And now all of a sudden they look metallic. Okay, so they went from ugly buttons to this really cool metallic look. And we haven't done much to it other than just add, you know, add some gesso and this little thing here. Now I'm going to come across, I kind of don't like this gray one because it tends to have like a little, I'm going to add a little bit of this gold in here with it because I think it'll look cool. Yeah, that gives it a little bit more movement. Now these two, all right, now I've got two black stars here. So let's just do one of these like that. Okay. And there you go, isn't that cool? So there's so many elements that you could take and just change them up to where they look so different. Okay. Now let me see here. Let's take this copper, and even though this stuff is really, really dry, if you wet it, it does pretty good. It doesn't work that like it used to, but it still will add something to it. So I'm going to add some of this copper in here. And all this is a metallic wax, but I'm adding a little bit more of this copper. I like it. It's a little bit brighter. Oops. I'm going to put that through here. Just kind of rub it in a little bit with the other color. Okay, yeah, it's a little brighter, definitely. So it's more of a copper look. So anyway, and of course on this, like I did on my other ones, I could take some of this distress ink, the salvage patina, and put a little bit of that in there with the copper. That might look kind of cool. Let's see if I have another brush I could use for that. And I'm just going to take a little and put it in different spots. I don't know that it'll make that much difference because it's probably going to blend in a lot. Let me try. What happened to the top to that? Okay, I'm going to try it just a little bit more concentrated. And just put a little bit more on here. And this is just adding another layer of texture. You definitely don't have to do this. But I like to mix it up, make it look a little different. Okay. There we go. And just kind of let it go naturally everywhere. Okay. And then probably, where did my paper towel go? Just going to go like that a little bit and let it sit for a minute and then see how it looks. Okay. So that's all I did to that. You know, guys, you can add as much or as little as you want to any of these. It's not gonna, you know, hurt if it doesn't turn out. You just paint over it with black gesso and start over. Let that sit for a minute. I don't know. I like lots of layers to things. I think the more layers you add, the cooler it looks in the end. And I'm not afraid to do that because I know I can just cover it up with black gesso and start over again. Okay, I don't think I'm going to put it on that one. All right, guys, so here is an idea of, let me just sponge that a little so you can see it kind of done. Now, some people don't like the blue patina on there, and I get it. I mean, it's not for everybody, but I like how it looks, so. Okay, so there is the copper one, and then there is just the, I guess I had 3 different colors of metallic on there. Here's one where I just used one. I think it has a little blue on the bottom. It's not supposed to. There's one. Here is just the gold letters, and I did it with black metallic, and then I went ahead and I just vintaged them up. That's all I did. You could make them, leave more of the black on there or put less gold or whatever it is you want to do. Here's the buttons. Okay. And that's it. So we have those. If you want to take a look. Super easy. So that's it, guys. That is all I have between that and the rust on this little project. So thanks for stopping by.